Hello, Zimbabwe, and welcome to the program Moments of Greatness, the program that inspires and motivates you to believe in yourself and realize that you're the greatest thing that was ever created, and you can become anything you so desire. And of course, as every week, we get to talk about these issues about greatness with our resident coach, Coach Natsi. Coach Natsi, how are you doing?
I'm good, Mayim. How are you?
Like the suit, man. You're looking great. You're looking on point.
Greatness awaits.
Greatness awaits. Of course, as a greatness coach, you have to look the part, right? So, Coach, today we're going to be talking about purpose, something that we've spoken about ever since we started. But we're going to be talking about purpose. We're going to talk about discovering your purpose and making sure that everybody realizes what their purpose is about. Do you want to touch a little bit on what purpose is all about?
That's it. Many people go through life, but I wonder how many people are really living. Purpose is not something that you create, but it's something that you discover. It's the reason why one is in existence. So it's really important that you can't go through life and be happy and be fulfilled without discovering why you were created.
Have you found your purpose, Coach?
I am.
Are you living your purpose?
Living my purpose. I'm happy to be doing what I'm doing because this is my purpose.
Living his purpose, happy to be doing what he's doing. I'm definitely living my purpose and happy to be living the life that I'm living. But let's get to find out other Zimbabweans, ordinary Zimbabweans. Once again, this program is about ordinary people that have overcome the most difficult of circumstances to be who they are, to discover who they are. And today on our program, we've got an amazing woman called Tapiwa. Tapiwa has got an amazing story. So take a listen and watch this as she speaks to us.
My name is Tapiwa Marufu. I was born and raised in Mbare. I come from a family of four girls and one boy. My mother died when I was 10. That's when I lost my mother. And my father, I don't have a relationship with my father. I never knew my father. I was born like this from birth, and basically up until I was in grade 7, that's when I realized that I was different, because I was mainstreamed into, I went to Harare High School. It's a school for the able-bodied. So before I used to go to St. Giles, it's a school for the disabled, so everybody was the same. I remember I used to be a happy child. I was normal. I was talkative. I loved hanging around people. I used to play in the streets. I used to play pada, believe it or not, nudo. The kids in my neighborhood never treated me differently because of my condition. Even my family, no one treated me differently. So, but when I was mainstream, there were a lot of things that I couldn't do, that I perceived I couldn't do, because people would ask me questions like, how do you do this? How do you cook? How do you bath? How do you do this? So that kind of affected me. And the fact that I'd lost my mother, who was like my support system, and my sisters were just getting into their lives. So that's when things just kind of went rock bottom for me. I stopped believing that I could do anything. I remember, honestly, there's a huge gap of that I don't remember because I blocked it out. I remember crying myself to sleep many nights. I started dropping in my grades. I used to be an A student. I started dropping in my grade. In me, I always felt there was a void that needed to be filled. So I got into a lot of things, but nothing really satisfied me. I remember I contemplated suicide. I think I was 18, 19. I had failed my exams, and I just wanted to die, because the picture that I saw myself at 30, I was either living with my sisters and being a burden, or I was dead. I remember I contemplated a lot of methods, but then I was so afraid to die. I was so afraid, what if I do this and then I don't die, and then people are going to talk again. Turnaround came in about, I think I was 22, 23. I remember I was watching a program on TV. It was a gospel show, I think one of the preachers on TV. I remember she said, everyone has a purpose. And that struck me. And I said, I thought to myself, everyone has a purpose. She said God created everyone and he made a problem for everyone to solve. And I thought, if this woman is telling the truth, then that means I also have a purpose. So I started trying to figure out what that purpose was. And then I started to go to church and things like that. And the church that I was going to, I got a job. That was my first job ever. And I was so excited because I was like, these people are giving me a job. And my first job was as a receptionist. And mainly the thing that would bother me was, how am I going to get to places? What will I do with the wheelchair? I cannot be independent. I started to see myself in a new light, plus of new friends in a new environment. So I worked there for about 3-5 years. I worked there. I started serving in the church. I got an opportunity to serve in the church, which was something that I never thought I could do because I loved being in the house of God. If there's anything you need to know about me, is I love being in the house of God. I love serving in the house of God. I would hear people come in with their stories and crying about this and that. And surprisingly, that annoyed me because in as much as I had my pity parties, but I had them alone. I would cry myself to sleep and stuff. But hearing other people crying about they don't have this or they don't have that, things that I thought were just, you're saying you don't have a job, then do something about it. I mean, you've got an opportunity to work, you've got your legs and your hands, and people would look at me like, but how do you do it? You're always here, you bring, and I'm like, I never thought I was doing anything important or special. I was just living my life. And I was thinking, why can't these people do them the same? I mean, you have challenges. We all have challenges. I remember what it felt like to be depressed and to be down, yes. But I also remember that when I got the opportunity to come out of that pit, I took it, I grabbed it with both hands, and I said, life, here I am. What have you got in store for me? I never interacted with people with disabilities because of the school that I went to. But when I did get an opportunity to do, all they did was complain. People with disabilities, they complain, we don't have this, we don't have that. The government doesn't do this for us. Tikakwira makombi, vanoramba kuti kwidza. And I'm like, that used to annoy me. No one caused me to be in this situation. It's nobody's fault. Because if it's nobody's fault, then if some guy in a combi chooses not to allow me in his combi, it's not his fault. I can't get angry with him. It's his choice. It's his combi. I just wait for the next one. Right now, I'm working at a job that I never thought I could get. And it wasn't because of my qualifications, because like I said, I failed in school. But when I failed in school, it was because I didn't believe in myself. But now that I do believe myself, I'm now finding places, I'm now educating myself. Right now, I'm doing a diploma in social studies and counseling skills online.
Coach Natsi, we went through Tapiwa's story. It's a riveting story. I've said to people that know me that I have very close, you know, just like my old man. And this story was one of those stories that just made me think, man, I've made so many excuses in life. And Tapiwa doesn't seem to be making any more excuses. Your take on that?
Definitely, when you look at Tapiwa's story, it's not one of those stories where she's wanting people to have a pity party about her life. These are stories of someone who is clear of her identity. Tapiwa even calls herself, I'm God's princess. She's really, really confident. She believes that she's not a mistake. She believes that God created her for who she is. So many of us have got many, many excuses. I look at how many people complain about not having a pimple, and here is Tapiwa, who's able to say that where my legs cannot take me, my voice is able to take me. What an amazing story.
There you have it, the story of Tapiwa, her life story, what she's been through. Coach, we're going to talk about this, of course, in the second segment. When we come back, we're going to go deeper into Tapiwa's story and find out if any one of us has got excuses about life. Stay with us for the second segment on Moments of Greatness. Coach, Tapiwa was born with no legs, and she was born in Mbare. She could have made any excuse about her life, you know. What do you have to say about people who make excuses about their conditions, about the way they live?
The thing that I've learned in life is this: there's always an excuse for every excuse. What I mean is, you can always find an excuse for anything that you want to give an excuse on. People can give an excuse, number one, let's say in terms of their background. I was born in the wrong family. I was born in the wrong neighborhood. Yet out of the same neighborhood, there are people who have risen and we have come out of that. There are many crippling excuses people give. People give an excuse: I'm poor. They say that I'm poor because I don't have this, I don't have that. Being born poor is not your problem, but dying poor, it is your problem, because you can still rise above and go beyond that poverty. People give an excuse of education: I am not educated. Yes, you might not have gone to school, but there's nothing that stops you to still educate yourself to go above that. If you don't like where you are not a tree. Why not take yourself from where you are and move yourself to where you're supposed to be? People give an excuse: I don't have networks, I don't have people, I don't have connections. What stops you to break out of your comfort zone and be able to go out there, find somebody you can communicate and you can talk to? Start where you are. As long as you're going to look at the excuses, you will find every reason. I am short, I am dark, I'm the wrong race, I'm from the wrong country, and everything. But at the end of the day, you need to go beyond those excuses and be the best version of you.
Be the best version of you. Tapiwa speaks about, there's a moment that she wanted to commit suicide. And we live in a generation and a time that you have young people that sometimes actually contemplate suicide because, one, maybe they've been out of university, they can't get a job, nothing seems to be moving for them. I mean, how do you speak to people, to these young people and what they're going through, and that actually contemplate killing themselves, just like Tapiwa got to a moment like that?
That's right. You know, I really believe that the greatest tragedy in life is not just death, but it's also having life and not know why. There are some young people who die at 16, though they are buried at 60. Why? Because their vision, their purpose, their hope for living is already dead. So whenever anybody commits suicide, it's hope that is gone. So it is important for young people to know that there is an alternative. You have something to live for. So many young people, some have even are dead today as we talk because of that thought when they had to entertain the thought of suicide. But my encouragement to every young man, to every young woman, to every person who's out there, you can rise no matter how bad your situation is. You can rise above that as long as you are clear that life is better and life is how you can make it.
That said, it brings me again. I mean, like I said, today we talk about our champion of greatness, and our champion of greatness for this week is Tapiwa. We'll talk about the champions of greatness in the third and final segment. But she also brings in another issue that we'd like to talk about, which is the issue of choices. The choices that we make determine our destiny, they determine our future, they determine what we become. So, in terms of choices, how do these really change the course of our lives?
That's right. You know, life is a series of choices and decisions. We make our choices today, and our choices make us tomorrow. So this is the whole thing that you need to understand, that there are small choices, there are big choices, and every choice has a consequence. So many of us, when we have made a wrong choice, we think there's no alternative for me to make another choice. But it's one thing to make a choice, but it's another thing to stick and to stand with your choices. I believe all choices, there's either a preference or a conviction. A preference choice is one that you make, it could be right, but you can't stick with it when things are difficult. But a conviction choice is one that you make even if it means you are the only one. You are prepared to die for it. So it's one thing to make a choice and to be able to go through the consequences of your choice, good or bad. Life is about choices.
Life is about choices, and right now most of us are living what we are because of the choices that we have made.
That's right.
And she talks, of course, about the fact that somebody rejects me doesn't mean that I must then wallow in self-pity. You know, that's a powerful point that she made there.
That was so amazing, where she says that I don't blame anybody to be in my condition. I really want to say to everybody out there, the world does not owe you anything. Sometimes we're expecting too much from people, but there comes a place where you have to make the choice. Nobody really makes you angry. You choose to be angry. Take responsibility of your own choices.
But coach, I go to school, I go to university. Surely the world owes me a job. I mean, I've been to university. I'm a graduate. I've got a master's, I've got a doctorate. The world owes me a job.
The world offers you opportunities. Create the jobs. You owe the world jobs.
There you have it. I owe the world jobs, creation of jobs. It's all about decisions, it's all about purpose, coach. And like we said, again, we're going to touch on, we've got stories, we've got other champions that Zimbabweans are writing to us about that we're going to discuss in the third and final segment. So please stay with us as we come back on the program Moments of Greatness with, of course, Coach Natsi and myself, Maimba. Hello Zimbabwe and welcome to the program Moments of Greatness. And in this program today we've been speaking about purpose. We've been speaking about how people give so many excuses. And just to kick off this third segment, like we said, we would love to hear from you. Please take the numbers scrolling on your screens that will be given at the end of this third segment and contact us, speak to us. You know, for those that have spoken to us so far, Coach, I've got a message here. She says, hi, my name is Michelle. She's 21 years old. And she says, I watched your program on Sunday and it motivated me. I only wanted your help. I got this problem. It started when I broke up with my boyfriend. It made me lose hope, faith, and trust. She lost 3 things: hope, faith, and trust, all of them. And it is really affecting my life badly because I'm going to where I can't even trust myself. Please help me. I gave up on life a long time ago. So here's a young lady, 21 years old, and she's lost the most critical pillars of life: hope, faith, and trust. How does she deal with this? How does she get out of this?
What I want to say to Michelle,
in regards, of course, to purpose in life.
What I'd like to say to Michelle is this. Number one, she has to give herself permission to be hurt. Sometimes when we go through these processes, we don't allow ourselves to be hurt. So we want to act as if it has not bothered me. But I'm happy that she's able to say, not, this is where I find myself at. But secondly, she has to now realize, how do I move from where I am at to where I'm supposed to be at? Sometimes when you are in a relationship, and now you think it's all about, this is everything about me. But I want you to understand that life, the best days of her are not behind her, but the best days of her are ahead of her. Sometimes she has to look at herself, this is what has happened to this relationship. But at the end of the day, there is life after this relationship. She must now be able to say, who am I? Where am I going with my own life as an individual? Yes, it could be the worst thing that could have happened in your life. Yet on the same note, this could be the best thing that has happened in your life. If she's able, same way she's given a permission to hurt, she still has also to give a permission to herself to be able to rise up and be able to move forward. So it
but
is.
Let me ask you this though, Coach. Sorry to just come in there, but let me ask you this. Is her purpose tied to her boyfriend? With regards to our program today about purpose, is her purpose tied to her boyfriend? Because she's lost hope simply because she broke up with this boy, you know. Does that then make her lose her purpose in life?
I don't really believe that your purpose is tied to a boyfriend. In our purpose, there will be people, relationships are going to come our way. But at the end of the day, your purpose is not tied to a person. The moment you tie your purpose to a person, to a job, to an environment, or to a situation, then when that situation breaks, everything in your life breaks. Even when people come in our lives, even when money comes in our lives, money becomes a resource, but it's not the source. Purpose is not found in somebody else. The reason why God created you was not necessarily for this individual. So that's why I'm saying that for her, she has to realize this is what has happened, but my life goes beyond this situation.
Let me escalate it a bit. We're just talking about this one. She's 21 years old, and she's just broken off with a boyfriend. Okay. By the way, I'm sorry for your heartbreak. But that said, let's escalate it to marriage. Yeah. You know, you find wives that when they become married, they think their purpose is found in their husbands. So they begin to live lives for their husbands, and everything revolves around their families and their children, to a point where they forget about themselves as women and individuals with their own God-ordained purposes. How do married women in marriages deal with this? How do they find themselves?
We don't lose our uniqueness, we don't lose our oneness as an individual just because now I'm in this marriage where the two shall become one. There is a place where our purposes have to converge because we are in this marriage. But on the same note, each individual has their own purpose that we come into this marriage to complement each other. Because when I come in a marriage without knowing my own purpose, I'll be in this marriage and still not be able to contribute as I'm supposed to contribute because I don't know my purpose. So at the end of the day, each individual must be able to know that I am in this marriage for why? Because where purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. You can't run away from abuse. If you have a wife and you don't know the purpose of a wife, it will be wife abuse. If you have a child, you don't have a purpose of a child, it becomes child abuse. So at the end of the day, if you have a husband and you don't know the purpose of a husband, you end up expecting more from the husband, some things that you can only get sometimes from your Lord, or you can only get from you fulfilling your own purpose.
You fulfilling your own purpose. I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm going to just throw in a personal story. My mother, she didn't go to school. She got 6 kids. After she had 6 children, and way later in her 30s, she went back to Form 4, sat on a desk, and wrote her exams. And then she went to nursing school. And then she specialized in midwifery or wifery, depending on which school you went to. And she became a specialized midwife after having 6 kids. So what am I saying? All I'm bringing it is, it comes back to excuses. She could have made an excuse that I've got 6 kids, I'm a housewife, I'm not going to go to school. So how do we deal with women that give excuses, or married women that give excuses for their conditions and don't become the best that they can be?
And I think not only to married women, but also to every Zimbabwean out there. Number one, even if it's things of age, never think it's too late for you to fulfill your purpose. Even if you have made some mistake, you can still rise up from that mistake and still become what God has called you to become. So sometimes young people are told you're too young. Old people are told you're too old. So at the end of the day, who is going to do it? If not now, then when? If not you, then who? So it is important for you to be able to say, "Not from today, no more excuses, no limits, no boundaries. I'll still rise and become the best that I'm supposed to be."
No limits, no boundaries, which takes me to another, like we said, this is a very interactive program. We would like to hear from you, people of Zimbabwe. Wherever you're from, we want to hear from you. Here's another one who says, "I was drowning in self-pity and letting situations lower my self-esteem and confidence. But after watching the program, I'm not just going to wait for a job to come. I'm making use of my God-given talents, package my services well, and sell myself well. I was feeling disappointed with the current economic situation after studying so hard and all the time put in." How do we speak to this person with the prevailing economic situation? It's very easy to give an excuse.
And I love it because of that attitude, where they were able to realize that I could be a product of where I'm coming from, or a product of my environment, but I'm not going to allow to become a prisoner of this situation. What am I going to do? I am going to start where I am, with what I have, with who I have. So I'm really excited that with that kind of attitude, there is nothing that can keep them down.
Purpose, Coach Nasi, like you've just rightly said. And of course, once again, Zimbabwe, wherever you're from, we want to tell your story. Our stories are real people that inspire each one of us. and we want to tell your story. Tell us your champion of greatness. Wherever you're from, Murambinda, Cholocho, Mutare, Chirumanzu, tell us where you're from. We want to tell your story so that somebody somewhere will be inspired by your story. Coach, always a pleasure
It's always a pleasure.
having you on the program and
Awesome.
speaking about different things that affect us as a people and as Zimbabwe.
Go and live our purpose this week.
Let's go and live our purpose this week, and we are going to leave you, of course, with words and possibly a bit of singing from our champion of greatness this week, Tapiwa. God keep you, God protect you. My name is Maimba. Love yourselves and love your nation. Always. Adios.
Okay, what I'd like to tell people that have been where I was, who have been depressed and down and think that there's no hope for themselves, I want to tell them there is hope. I am a living testimony that there is hope. You can get out of depression. You can get up, find something. There is a purpose that God created you for. Find that purpose. Find out who God made you to be. But what I've learned is I have an ability, I have a voice. I might not have legs that work, but I have a voice. And my voice can reach where my legs can never reach. In terms of school, if you have failed, there is still hope. There are so many organizations that help people. Knock on every door until one opens. I can do it, then you can do it, because I'm just an ordinary girl from Bari. But look at where I am now. You can be anything. The sky is just the roof. There is no limit. Lord, please hear my heart's cry. I'm desperately waiting to be